The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCmedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, students at city middle schools and Durfee High will be restricted in their use of cell phones during school hours. We preview the upcoming school years at Diman and Atlantis Charter, and we look at the state of tourism on the South Coast. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, August 15th, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. The Fall River School Committee has approved a policy that bans cell phone use in city middle schools and BMC Durfee High School, with some exceptions during school hours. The school department has been researching the effectiveness of such a policy since earlier this year, surveying parents and staff. The policy will take effect a few weeks into the new school year at Durfee High School, the Morton, Talbot, and Cuss Middle Schools, and grades 6 through 8 at the Henry Lord and Doran Community Schools.
The expectation would be that as students come through the door in the morning, just like at the high school, we have the Evolve systems. They come through the door. There will be a protocol in place where students need to put their cell phones, earbuds, and watches in the magnetic bag. There are medical pouches as well for students that need to access their phone for medical reasons. So there's a variation. Those are not magnetic, those are Velcro, but students will be held to the same expectations that cell phones are off and away during the day. As they walk out of the building at the end of the day, there are large magnets that we will have strategically positioned throughout the building at the exits so that we are very aware and cognizant of ensuring that students are able to hit their bag up against the magnet. It will then unlock the magnet and students will go home with the bag, as well as their cell phone will be open at the end of the school day.
Dr. Bronhard says there will be exemptions for some students to gain access to their phones for medical purposes, and parents will have multiple options to reach their children in the event of a family emergency.
In the case of an emergency at home, parents or guardians can contact their child during the school day by calling the school's main office. If the main office is not available, parents or guardians may call the guidance office for assistance or contact the school administration via Parent Square. We've seen a wide range of use of Parent Square. There are many parents who have more access to us than we ever did before through Parent Square. There is a text messaging app, there is an email component, as well as the phone call component. So we feel really strong that Parent Square can be that immediate point of contact. In the case of an emergency, a perimeter or a lockdown, we will direct our students to safety first, following the school's emergency protocol, and all parents will receive notifications from our school-wide notification system through Parent Square.
Before the vote, resident Katie Elliott testified in favor of the policy through the lens as a parent and a local teacher.
I believe the ban on cell phones in schools is beneficial, drawing from both my professional background and personal experience. Number one, reducing disruption and fostering focus and engagement. From an educator's standpoint, cell phones are a significant source of distraction and disrupt the learning environment, whether through ringing, texting, browsing. My experience has shown that when students are focused on their phones, their engagement with the material diminishes. I've witnessed firsthand how these interruptions can derail a lesson and impact the student's ability to learn. As a mom, I want my child to make the most of their educational experience, which means being present and attentive during class. I want my child, along with all the students, to have a classroom environment that minimizes these distractions and maximizes learning opportunities.
Ms. Elliott also said disconnecting students from phones during school time will protect academic integrity and learning and provide opportunities for student social and emotional growth. The school committee unanimously approved the cell phone policy. Member Shelley Pereira said despite some parents' objections, the policy's benefits will outweigh any harm.
But I think parents should be okay I mean, at least I as a parent would say, you know what, you're more likely that your child is going to be safe because they're less likely to be bullied online in school. They're less likely to have, hey, meet me outside and we're going to beat this one up and all get in cahoots. That's actually a safety issue. So if we're talking about safety, taking the phones away from the kids actually, and I'm not just saying this, I believe the school resource officers would say the same thing. It actually provides a safer environment. It's a work in progress. You are going to get a lot of kickback, a lot, because change is hard, even good change is hard. But I promise you, you will get no kickback right here. This is what needs to happen. It's bold. Some people are going to be angry. Your teachers are going to love it because they are not going to have to navigate that. It is not their job. They have enough on their plate to begin with. This is the least that we can try to do.
Mayor Paul Coogan voted to approve the new policy. He says the student use of cell phones in schools distracts them from learning.
The problem becomes that you see 10 kids in a cafeteria, at a bus stop. They're all on their phone. No one's talking to each other. There's limited interaction. In a school, it's magnified out, whether it's bullying, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. It's a tremendous distraction to learning. And people have to understand that our job on the school committee is to make sure kids get the best education they can in the far post schools. And obviously this is not a far post schools issue. This is a statewide issue. Everybody's fighting this cell phone issue and trying to find a way to work their way through it. These bags that they're going to put them in are an outcropping of it. This is not going to be the be all and the end all. We're going to need parents to work with us on this cell phone issue to make sure the kids are in school learning.
FRC Media is previewing what parents and students can expect from city schools when classes resume later this month. Classes at Diman Regional Vocational Technical High School will begin on August 28th and are expected to open to the highest enrollment in the school's history.
This year, as sitting here today, we're going to be opening the doors this school year with over 1,475 students, 1,475 students. That is the largest ever. There was a huge number of applicants for Diman this year at the 9th grade level. There were over 735 applications. We are going to accept 685 freshmen coming in. The other grades, the sophomore, junior, and senior grades, have maintained their enrollment. Not as high, but it's going to bring us to a new total this year, a new grand total of 1,475 students coming in on August the 28th. Cannot wait.
Mr. Bentley says Diman continues to receive strong support from parents in Fall River, Somerset, Swansea, and Westport.
From the community, they still see Diman as a valuable way to obtain an education. You know, it is, and I've always known this about Diman, you get your bang for your buck because you're getting two educations at the same time. You are achieving the high school diploma that you do need in the workplace to prove that you have the academic skills, but you also have the hands-on training. And that's what lands jobs, makes our students such valuable members of the community and beyond. So we see it as it's a win-win. We want the community to know what we're all about, and we try to broadcast that. But they know what we're all about, so they send their sons and their daughters to Diman for us, and we're so thankful for that, for us to educate them academically and also vocationally. So it's a good situation.
Academically, Diman is expected to fare well when the release of the MCAS results are released later this fall. Along with keeping academic standards high, Diman is working to provide students with guidelines to improve social and emotional skills.
I think coming out of COVID, we just forgot sometimes how to act, so we acted kind of foolishly. We acted without thinking. And the whole concept of being a total student and a good member of the community is that you're understanding what you're doing, why you're doing it, and you're self-disciplining. You know, get the self-control back. And don't blame others. Take responsibility for your own actions. You do those things, you're not only going to be a good student at Diman, you're going to be a good person no matter where you go, and also be very successful. So we're going to work on that this year again. And to that end, we have some new counselors that have come into our building to work with our students. They will help those students identify areas where they feel they need help. And sometimes students don't know they need help, but they know they need something.
The 2024-2025 school year will be the second in which students and families will be competing with the construction of a new high school on Stonehaven Road. As of now, that project is still on time and on budget.
For the most part, they do believe that 2026 will be a key year for the opening of the building at some point in there, and in 2027 transitioning right into knocking down and eliminating, demolishing the existing Diamond building in order to start constructing our football and fields and the other athletic fields that we need for our students. So we're still on, this is only 2024. I think that will be a big difference coming up in 26 and then the major completion in 2027. So it's still on target.
Mr. Bentley says Diman is looking to expand upon its partnership with the Health First Family Care Center, providing comprehensive health services to students. In the coming year, it's anticipated that a student mental health component will be added to the clinic's services. The Atlantis Charter School in Fall River will celebrate its 30th anniversary this upcoming year, and it hopes to build upon its historical successes. The K-12 school on Jefferson Street will start the new year with an enrollment of between 1,250 and 1,300 students. Executive Director Robert Beatty said there are still openings for students to enter the high school, focusing on career readiness.
We've done a lot to build our program over the course of the last number of years now, including for us, especially the growth of our Career Academy program, where kids are being exposed through high school to these really broad career pathways, and then finding a focus, in especially their junior and senior year, in an area that they might want to go into, might want to pursue first undergraduate or directly in the workforce. And then if in undergraduate, then obviously having a plan for what their college years would look like before entering that profession. And so that's really, for us, the thing that differentiates us a little bit. We take a little bit of a different approach to that from other schools in the area. And so that's sort of a lot of the content of the high school student recruitment that we do.
In the coming year, high school students will see expanded opportunities to visit local colleges, and those within the Medical Career Academy will be exposed to an emergency medical services component. The lower school at Atlantis is in its second year of an initiative that seeks to improve student literacy.
You know, one of the great things about the literacy program that we are now in that second year of is just the amount of writing that kids do. I think that that the ability to write, we've seen it sort of we've heard the message from a number of sort of directions, right? So at the elementary level, we see the need for kids to write more regularly and get comfortable in writing. And then at the high school level, and particularly through our Career Academy program, when we were building that program, one of the biggest concerns from the local business community was difficulty that young workers had in communicating in the workplace, and that's all writing. So we've really made a concerted effort, K-12, to build out not just literacy in the early grades, but really focus on communication and writing all the way through that K-12 spectrum.
Outside the classroom, Atlantis continues to provide opportunities for students to become well-rounded members of the community.
We're really excited to expand our arts program. We had a grant last year to expand theater arts, and we were able to buy a bunch of new equipment, had some phenomenal productions last year. In previous years, we've had some philanthropic support to build out music resources for the school, so we're really excited to see the arts program expand at Atlantis. And then our athletics program has continued to grow very well. Our teams had a lot of success last year. We're excited for them to get started this year. Some of the teams are already out doing some preseason practices and that sort of stuff. So it is nice. It's sort of that well-rounded high school experience where kids that are coming to Atlantis in all grade levels, but at the high school level, can access sort of all of those kind of sort of extracurricular activities and just get that well-rounded high school experience.
Mr. Beatty says the success at Atlantis is the direct result of the work of teachers and staff, who he calls the institution's greatest asset. The collaboration of all stakeholders in Fall River around student success has made Atlantis a valued and respected educational option for city parents.
Many of us know that there are regions, both in our state and around the country, where school systems, and in particular charter school systems and traditional school systems, might not get along. There might be sort of adversarial relationships. It's really not the case in Fall River. I mean, we all sit on these various, boards and we work with the Chamber of Commerce, and there's a lot of collaboration in Fall River around improving education for everybody. I think it's one of the greatest highlights of our region educationally, and so I would say that over the course of 30 years of Atlantis' existence, there's been acceptance, certainly. We are a very well-established charter school, but there's also been just a tremendous amount of collaboration and with Durfee, Fall River Public Schools, Diman, Argosy, Westport Schools, BCC, UMass Dartmouth. The collaboration here to benefit all kids is really an incredible highlight for this region.
The Democratic National Convention begins this Monday in Chicago. Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, will become the party's standard bearers heading into the November election. During the most recent taping of our program looking at the history of presidential elections, Bristol Community College Associate Professor of History and Government Don Kilgus said the Democrats need to quickly pivot its focus to spotlight celebrating the Harris-Walz ticket following the withdrawal from the race by President Biden.
They had everything set, obviously, for a Biden-Harris ticket, not a Harris and whomever she chooses as her vice presidential running mate. And I think that is going to be interesting to see how they pull it all together, which they will. I mean, they will get it together. But it's going to try to present that sense of unity that despite, especially now, since everything that's gone on over the last, as we said, few weeks and couple months as well, with the president withdrawing and things, they have to show that sense of unity. As we said in our last episode, the idea of the media is watching. Everyone is watching. I think the world is going to be watching here. How does Vice President Harris present herself and her running mate? How the Democrats put their media package together in terms of who's going to be speaking, when, who she chooses for her running mate. I think all these things will be very vitally important to her ultimate success going down the line.
Unlike the recently completed Republican National Convention, the Democrats are likely to rely on former presidents to rally the country around the Harris-Walz ticket.
We see that other presidents have made different, decisions and different choices. We see that especially, as you said, with the Democrats right now. It'll be interesting to see who they decide to put up there, like you said, in prime time, because those tend to be very important time frames to get the most number of eyeballs on the TV and to gain that support and show that sense of unity. One thing I thought was really interesting, obviously, is that former President Trump, he had Nikki Haley speak. And I think it was on Tuesday night, so it was the night before the vice president nominee Vance was going to speak and things like that. So it was very interesting, trying to mend political fences, trying to bring people together. And I think that's what we'll see from the Democrats as well. And again, having former presidents speak that I know this person, I vouch for this person, and that can go a long way in a lot of ways for individuals, and for others, it won't have any impact whatsoever.
Mr. Kilgus says with such a short window before the election, the convention will need to focus on reintroducing Vice President Harris to the American people.
With Vice President Harris, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of work to do. As I said earlier, it can be to some extent perhaps a positive for her in the sense that because she has that she's not new on the scene, but now she's has the number one spot on the ticket, that she gets that bump, if you will. Yeah. And then on the other side, if you're from the Republican side, you haven't had as long to vet her or look at her, and the Democrats haven't had as long to vet her either. We'll just have to see how it plays out and if she can maintain her focus and create that image, which is, I think, going to be huge for the Democratic Convention. She needs to create that image of herself. What is she?
You can watch all 3 episodes of our presidential election series by visiting our website, frmedia.org. We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Journeyman Plumber, Triangle Refrigeration, located at 425 Pleasant Street, is seeking a full-time journeyman plumber, responsible for installing new systems and supply lines, focusing on plumbing and drainage systems. Job number 212-53251. Unit Manager RN, Cavallo Grove Health and Rehab Center, located at 273 Oak Grove Avenue, is looking for a full-time Unit Manager RN, responsible for overseeing day-to-day patient care, supervising, directing, and developing nurse staff for residents. Job number 212-68005. Operations and Safety Specialist. Rexel USA, located at 221 Weaver Street, seeks a full-time Operations and Safety Specialist, responsible for providing operational support for branch and sales teams and assist with operational safety procedures. Job number 212-54997. Shift Manager. Starbucks, located at 800 William S. Kenning Boulevard, is looking for a full-time shift manager. For more information, call 774-309-5923. Atlantis Charter School, located at 991 Jefferson Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Special Education Substitute Teacher, job number 212-57895. Human Resources Assistant, job number 212-41724. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The unofficial end of summer is a few weeks away, but tourism efforts in southeastern Massachusetts happen year-round. The Southeastern Massachusetts Visitors Bureau has been in existence for decades and serves the interests of the cities and towns in Bristol County. Chrisanne Tyrell was hired as executive director earlier this year and works hand in hand with the regional chambers of commerce and is funded partly through the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. Much of the work in marketing the region is rarely, if ever, seen by those who live on the South Coast.
The Mass Office of Travel and Tourism, MOT, is tasked with bringing in visitors, international, domestic, outside of 50 miles of the state. So we're bringing in tourism to the state. However, we want them to stop in southeastern Mass and spend time. We try to catch people going to Cape Cod or Boston, and we have a visitor's guide that we put out, which is on our new website. You can download it. We do marketing, we do programs through the state. Some of the ones we've done recently are like Yankee Magazine, a lot of the travel magazines. We put out our visitor guide, about 30,000 of those are distributed out into like New York, Pennsylvania, all on that drive to Massachusetts and like Cape Cod or Boston.
Ms. Tyrell, who is the lone employee of the Visitors Bureau, relies on connections within cities and towns to devise a schedule of events that can be promoted to prospective visitors.
We have different assets in different communities. So the state will have different programs where, you know, their marketing is doing, you know, they're working with a travel site, or they'll contact the Regional Tourism Council and say, what do you have for outdoors? I mean, they've contacted me about like, what beaches are in your area? Can you tell us about them? So we funnel that information to them, and that goes to a broader audience when they do their marketing, and international traveling too. Really the goal that I'm working on this year is bringing more groups to the area, like bus tours. So we'll be going to like the American Bus Association, we'll go to the trade shows and work with tour operators and try to get more visitors to come to the area.
The Bureau recently relaunched its website with targeted event information.
We're continuously updating it. We now have events on there, and we're feeding into our partners. So like Fall River, you can go on our website. If you don't see something there, you can link right into Viva Fall River or Destination New Bedford, which is now Explore New Bedford, that's their new name. And any of the other communities that want to send us information about things that are going on. And then we'll highlight, like last week, we highlighted that the feast was here in New Bedford. I think we highlighted the food trucks this week. So we try to spread it out.
As Ms. Tyrell becomes more familiar with her new role, she expects to take advantage of state and regional assets and events to attract visitors to Bristol County.
I think we'll have more involvement from the communities, and we'll be able to market more. We're working directly with MOT. As you said, Mass 250. Now the Board of Directors has a committee for Mass 250 so that we can coordinate some activities that are happening here to make sure the state knows what's going on in southeastern Mass. So we're really trying to elevate our presence, because many times people will go to Boston and go directly to Cape Cod, or they'll go to Plymouth, and we need to elevate our visibility.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Hello and welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. You have to come down to 300 Linwood Street and meet these kittens. We have so many right now, and we also have some in foster. We have them in all shapes and sizes, also in varying ages and colors, so anything you're looking for, we probably have the perfect match for you. All these guys vary from 9 weeks to 13 weeks old. They're all very friendly, they all get along well with each other, they love to play, they love to snuggle, they're everything you're looking for in a kitten. In my right hand here is Berlioz. She is a 13-week-old mix, and then in my left hand here is Cabernet. She is 9 weeks old. This is our oldest guy right here. He's 13 weeks old. We believe he is a Maine Coon mix of some sort. He is currently available here at Forever Paws. If you're interested, you can come down and fill out an application for him or any one of these other guys you see down here. All of these kittens are very lovable and snuggly, so if you're interested, please come down and meet them.
Today with us we have Brielle. She is roughly about 5 years old. She's a cane corso. She is just about 100 pounds. Hey, go friend. Now, even though she's 5, she still has a very playful side to her. She loves to get the zoomies. She loves to run. So she would do good in like an inactive home. She does get along with other dogs. We don't have a background history with cats or children with her. So we're going to say no kids or children. For her, you would need to ideally have experience with large breeds and also own your own home. She is very playful, she gets very excitable, but when it is time to relax, she's one too, as long as the couch is big enough, she'll curl up on the couch with you. She's very happy-go-lucky, has a lot of love to give. If you want to come down and meet Brielle, you can call Forever Paws Animal Shelter. Brielle would love to meet you.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.